Yesterday, Joe Montana had a piece of advice for Tom Brady. He said, quote, play as long as you can. It's advice Brady probably loves to hear since he wants to play until he's at least 45 years old. Brady did reveal in an interview with James Corden that Giselle asked him, quote, what more do you have to prove after the latest Super Bowl win? And Brady admitted he tried to quickly change the subject, which I really enjoyed hearing that story from Tom Brady. And Shannon, you're retired at the age of 35. We talk about it plenty on this show, but in your opinion, what would you advise Brady to do?
Keep going, bro, because you'll never find anything to replace that burning, that desire that you have while you play in the NFL. You know, Skip, Giselle asked him something moments after the game. She said, what more do you have to prove? His desire to prove that he can still do it. His desire to prove that he can do it longer, better than anybody else that's ever done it before, is greater than his desire to say, I proved everything, I can walk away. And Giselle, you have a lot of cachet in this marriage. You probably get to determine where you go on vacation and for how long. You get to determine when the kids are gonna go to take a nap and where they're gonna go and all that other stuff and when they can go with their friends. But I'm afraid, Miss Bunchen, you're gonna have to take a back seat on this one. Tom is not gonna let anyone influence this decision. And I know you think you want him home. And Skip, how many times have you heard, Skip, I'm retiring, I want to spend time with my family and kids. They've sacrificed far too much for too long, and I want to go home. And 2 weeks after retirement, you hear the wife say, man, you need to get your butt up out of here. And he say, well, I was out of here, and you wanted me to come home, so I'm here now. Skip, let him play. Because if you force him to retire, what's going to happen is he's going to be resentful. Don't let anybody, when someone makes you do something that you don't want to do, even though it might be temporarily, you become resentful of that person. I didn't want to do this. So I would advise Tom, keep playing. As long as you can play at the level at which you're playing, don't walk away. Because there's nothing that you can do after you walk away that can quench that thirst that football quenches. And so for me, I would tell him to keep playing. I don't really know if he has any hobbies outside of this, Skip. For me, I love working out, so that was my escape. Spending 2, 3, 4 hours at the gym, still working out, doing all those things. I don't think Tom is that type of workout warrior. No. So I don't really know what else he would do, Skip, that would quench that competitive fire that football does.
I hear you, and I so agree. And I think about you. You were pretty much forced to stop playing professional football at age 35 because your body was starting to betray you, and you were just getting sick and tired of how hard it was to prepare for games by having to sit through meeting after meeting after meeting. Yet, the great thing about Shannon Sharpe, the man I know, is you got to do what I believe you were born to do, which is play pro football at the highest level. But the sad part of that is your life's work ended when you were 35. You were just coming into your own as a man. You're only 35 years of age, and it's over. What you were born to do, you can't do it anymore. And I am so thankful for you that you did have the gift of gab, so you were able to segue right into sports broadcasting. And if you couldn't play football, you could dissect football. You could talk about it. You could break it down. You could sort of hold it in your mental hands and say, well, it's still this and it's still that. And it gives you a little bit of connection on Mondays to say, I feel a little bit of what happened on Sunday.
And Skip, CBS allowed me to go out and do interviews. So I got an opportunity. Sometimes I could go watch practice. I could go sit down and talk to the guys. The guys would ask me, okay, what was it like in this situation? And you were trying to win a championship. So I felt I was still close to the game, even though I wasn't playing in the game. See, Tom is not a guy, Skip. Tom is not going to be Tony Romo. He's not going to be Troy Aikman. Tom Brady ain't looking to get no TV gig because you know in these gigs, Skip, you got to be critical of players, of coaches. And I don't think I think that's one of the main things, one of the reasons that Peyton hasn't taken one of these jobs. Because you got to be critical sometimes. You got to say, you know what? That was a bad decision. That was the wrong read. That was a blown call by the coach. He shouldn't have. And so I don't know where Tom goes, Skip. If he doesn't play football, what do you see Tom doing, Skip? There's only so many rounds of golf that you can play in a day.
Bingo. He loves to play a little bit of off-season golf, but it's not going to scratch that itch. I don't know.
No.
I don't see him being a coach. I don't know for sure. Maybe like a physical fitness or like a guru, you know, like he'll continue the TB12 method of how to sustain your life, you know, how to make your life better. But quick aside, our friend, our man, Eric Dickerson, that we often have on the show here, we call him the Rambassador. I had the privilege and honor last week, Shannon, of reading an advanced copy of Eric's new book, his autobiography about his life and times, dating back to, obviously, Sealy, Texas, on to SMU, and then to the Rams and the Colts, and into the Pro Football Hall of Fame alongside you. I consider him the best running back and the greatest running back in football. But it's a riveting read. I highly recommend it. It's not going to be out for a while, but it dripped with pathos and passion. It seemed like every few pages about Eric reflecting back on how the greatest times of his life were running with that football. And he said the first time he ever got to run in a varsity game, as I believe he's a freshman at Sealy, it was magical to him. He scored 6 touchdowns, and he said, I never got over that. And if he could snap his fingers and go back to it today, he'd sacrifice everything to be able to go back and carry the football under the brightest lights of the National Football League. It's who he was, and it hurt my heart to read it because, man, and I'm not saying he's living in the past, but he just misses the hell out of it. So
You do, Skip. And the thing is, Skip, is that it's kind of like what drove Michael Jackson was because, Skip, he tried to make another Thriller. He tried to make another album. He didn't realize, bro, you just made the greatest album. Not a compilation where people put their hits together. This was one album. That's what Thriller was. And he said, well, I can make another one. And it drove him. Tom Brady is still driving, trying to get Super Bowl, Skip, because that feeling, that high for him, yes, Skip, he loves winning games, but that high that you get from winning the Super Bowl because you get to look from the mountaintop and look down at all the teams that you conquer, that lay in wait, and you like, I'm here.
Yep.
And you love that feeling. And you heard what he did, Skip, a couple of days after he had won, he was back training again because you want that feeling, you want that rush again.
Yep.
And once you get that, and that's how I tell people, once you win the Super Bowl, nothing else matters. You don't care about Pro Bowls, you don't care about all pros. All you care about is that, because that means I play a team sport and I've got the best team. Skip, I played 14 years in the NFL. I played college and played high school. But the one regret I have, Skip, it came in a workout. We were working out one day, and I felt good. I felt really good. We were on a chest day. I felt really good, Skip. And I did my bench. I think I went up to like 440 pounds for a double. And then we got to the dumbbells, and I did the 170-pound dumbbells for 6 reps. Now, 180s are on the floor. They're the only dumbbell that's not racked. Only one man has ever done those. Ronnie Coleman, 8-time Mr. Olympia. And my trainer, Rope Man, said, dog, you can hit those 180s. You got it. I just saw the way you did the 170s. I said, Rope, I get it next week. Skip, next week never came. That was 25 years ago. That's the regret that I have. So I want Tom Brady to keep playing because I don't want him to have that regret that, you know what, I could have played another year. I could have played another 2 years. I might have could have won. Because, Skip, what do we look back and say? Michael Jordan, had he played those 8 consecutive years, they might have won 8 straight titles. Yep. I tell you what's not going to happen. Tom Brady ain't going to have that. Tom Brady's going to empty the tank. When they say he gonna drive this car till the wheels fall off, till the wheels fall off, the engine drops out, the steering wheel comes off the column, there's going to be nothing but a shell of a car when Tom Brady leaves. That's when you know he's going to know it's over, because everybody else, it seems to me, Skip, that's when he's going to know that it's over. So for me, Tom, keep playing, bro. You're having too much fun. You enjoy everything. Skip, I believe he enjoyed the other aspects. See, for me, Skip, I love playing in the game, but I didn't like the meetings.
Nope.
I didn't want to be there. I heard it all. I'm trying to figure out how can Tom go 20 years, hear the same terminology, and still have a burning passion to hear it over again.
Yep.
Damn. How many times you got to hear doctors hear a nursery rhyme before you like, I don't want to hear that one no more. Skip, even kids hearing bedtime story. You got to change it up for them. Tom has heard the same bedtime story basically for 20 years and say, you know what, read it to me again, Mom. Read it to me again, Dad.
I hear you.
I've never seen anything like it, Skip. I've never seen anything like Tom Brady. The desire that he has to continue to play a game. Not to play, but Skip, it's the outside stuff that takes the toll on you because in the game is secondary, it's just reactionary. But to prepare,
yeah. So